Let's talk resizing on the BERNINA 880. Now I have to tell you, this is something that BERNINA has spoiled me from day one when they had an embroidery machine. They told me that if I brought in a design and I enlarged it, stitches would increase. It'll actually take longer for it to stitch. And I didn't really have limitations on how big a design could be increased. Now I say that with excitement because oftentimes when working with other brands of machines, there is a limitation and you can only increase a design 20% up or 20% down within the machine because the stitch count does not change. So 20% gives them just enough that it won't look like the stitches are spread out, because they are, and vice versa. 20% down pushes those stitches. You end up with more stitches in that smaller area, and it does start to pile up, but again, not going beyond 20% is usually a safe place. So we've actually just done this built-in design on the machine, and it's not very big. This is our standard oval hoop that comes with the machine, but I just want to show you that if we touch the eye and choose the sizing feature, we can do a couple things. Number one, if the little lock symbol has a white box around it versus no white box, when you actually turn the knobs, either one actually, you're sizing the design proportionally. So as you look at how big it is getting, once it actually calculates the stitches, you're going to see that the design no longer takes 5 minutes to stitch, but it might take 10 minutes to stitch. You can actually keep turning this. Again, look at that percentage up. It only, you can go until you touch the edge of the hoop. If the hoop is red, obviously it won't let you stitch. It's so smart. So just bring it back down until the hoop is no longer red and the design is sitting inside the sewing area. Do remember that if you were to buy one of the larger BERNINA hoops, such as the largest one, the jumbo hoop, we could continue our sizing options by continuing to enlarge it even more. Now, do keep in mind that as you enlarge something, oh, this is crazy. This still is amazing. Okay, so keep in mind, like right here, this is a satin stitch. So instead of the satin stitch being within range, keep in mind that that has now gotten to be a very long satin stitch. But there is a feature in this machine. You just have to scroll through to the bottom where you, okay, don't trash it. Scroll through the bottom where you get to the very last function, and this is actually density change, but we're not changing the density. What I want you to do is change it from a satin stitch to step stitches. Step stitches will be more flat. Yes, it won't look as rounded, but also the stitches haven't gotten so long that you might catch your nail or a ring or something and then kind of distort the stitching, and that doesn't look good. So you can actually have the machine change all the satin stitches to step stitches, and it will look amazing. So that is one of your options, but let me go back to our other sizing. I mentioned there was a lock. Here we go. Let's just turn this back to normal settings. So I'm going to touch the yellow boxes. And yes, remember we added the jumbo hoop. So I'm going to go back to the oval hoop just so we can see it a little bit more there. So another thing that you can do is size it unproportionally. So if we take the lock off, then now we could actually just make this design very tall and skinny if I turn just one knob. Or I could make it wider or narrower depending on which one I'm changing. So if you have a design and you want to fill up the hoop, you sure can, because you're in charge of how long it can go and then how wide it can go. So you could actually control that until you get set where the red line shows again. So sizing capabilities, love the fact that BERNINA can handle taking a design from 100% all the way up to say 300 or 400%. So I hope you'll try that too with any of your alphabets. If you want just a really big monogram, you can do exactly that. Bring one letter on screen, enlarge it to the size you want, put a bigger hoop on, keep enlarging it, and again, make sure you change the satin stitch to a step stitch, and I think you'll love the result. So if you're excited about this as much as I am, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please check out the other over 120 videos we have made on the BERNINA 880 sewing and embroidery machine.